Hello, everyone. It's good to see that there are some people here. Wasn't sure if anybody would be here, being Thanksgiving Eve, but I'm glad you're here. We'll begin with the verse of the Kesa. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Tathagata's teaching, freeing all creations. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Tathagata's teaching, freeing all creations. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Tathagata's teaching, freeing all creations. Kata of Atonement. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all. Fragrance of this incense invites the awakened mind to be present with us now. Fragrance of this incense fills our room, protects and guards our minds from wrong thinking. Fragrance of this incense unites us. With precepts, concentration, and insight, we offer it for all beings. Homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I shall become one with the Buddha. I resolve that I shall each day follow the way of life he laid down for us to walk and awaken to his supreme wisdom. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I shall become one with the Dharma. The gates of Dharma are manifold. I vow to enter them all. The goal of wisdom is ever beyond. I shall attain it. I go to the Sangha for guidance. I shall become one with the Sangha in the spirit of universal fellowship, and as a member of the Sangha, I pledge myself to strive for the enlightenment of all beings. The Metta Sutta. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with the boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upward to the skies and downward to the depths, outward and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, sitting or lying down, freed from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into the world of suffering. May I be happy and well. May no harm come to me. May I learn compassion. May all my friends, family, and those I love be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all those troubled in body, mind, and spirit be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all those who have hurt me in body, mind, and spirit be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all those who I have hurt in body, mind, and spirit be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all my enemies be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all living beings be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. Okay, we'll do a 20-minute silent meditation. I left my phone in the other room, so I don't have my timer, but I'll time it. So if you're timing and muting, I'll hit around 20 minutes. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, existing right here now, and offering flowers, candles, and incense, hearing the Dharma and training the mind. Great merit is attained. We dedicate this merit to the great Master Shakyamuni Buddha, the all-pervading and everlasting three treasures, to the 16 guardians and all protectors of the Dharma and their relations throughout space and time, to all ancestors of this Sangha and all beings in the Dharma world. May penetrating light dispel the darkness of ignorance. Let all karma be resolved and the mind flower bloom in eternal spring. May the Dharma body maintain strength and health, and years of life be lengthened for all teachers of this Sangha. May their vows be fully realized, and may they live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma. We pray for those suffering from violence and those who grieve for them, for those living in oppression, for all who are imprisoned who should be free, for all refugees from violence, hunger, and catastrophe, man-made or natural. We pray for the health and well-being of those suffering from diseases of body, mind, or spirit, those working toward the healing of those afflictions, and those grieving for lost loved ones. May they be serene through all their troubles, and may we realize the enlightened way together. Sabe sata sadahantu avera sukha jivino katang punya phalang maihang sabe bhagi bhavantu te. May all beings always live happily, free from animosity. May all share in the blessings that spring from the good we have done. Hi, Nina. Hi, Marianne. Hi, Daphne, Jeff, Ellen, Catherine. It's good to see you all here. And wow, there's 9 people on according to this. It's actually more than 9 people because some of you are 2 people. So that's at least 10, maybe 11. That's great. I'm honestly surprised. I was wondering tonight, like, is anybody going to show up, or is everybody off in their Thanksgiving mode already? Anyway, so hello and happy Thanksgiving to you, Ellen. So before I start the Dharma talk, I sent out the email and I said, watch for something new on December 8th. So let me explain that. And because I'm getting questions from some of you, so I'll answer what I can. And I'm not hiding anything from you. I'm not like being coy. There's just there's details to work out and that kind of stuff. But here's the plan. So the plan is December 8th, which is a Wednesday at 7 p.m., our usual time. We'll meet in person, and we'll meet at the Collective Church, which is in downtown DeLand. It is on New York Avenue, East New York, generally right across from Boston Coffee. Collective Church is it's a Christian church. It was started as a project of the Methodist Church down there, and I'm not sure exactly what the relationship is there now. I think it's independent, but I'm not certain exactly. So I'm have been acquainted for some time with the pastor of it. We have a lot of mutual acquaintances, mutual friends, and there's some other people who are involved in it in one way or another that I know or have known off and on. So, but I had coffee with the pastor several weeks ago. He was telling me what was going on. They were sort of back to normal functioning, and he asked if we'd like to be there. So, the advantage to being there is, well, there's several. It's a nice space. It doesn't feel like a church. There's no pews. There's chairs. There's tables. There's even like counter height tables and stuff like that. So it's not a highly traditional looking religious space. Doesn't really feel like a Buddhist meditation hall, but that's okay. If you bring in a Buddha and you set up an altar, you have a Buddhist meditation hall. So it's the acoustics are nice in there. But the main thing, well, not the main thing, but one of the main things is that it's wired for streaming. So one of my concerns about going back to in person was that I know that there are people who are not yet comfortable with going back to in-person meetings because they have, risk factors and so on. There are people who, when we started meeting online, had been involved with the community and then they moved away, and or their job situation changed and they weren't available on Wednesdays, and et cetera. And so they were not, we're able to return to the community because of us being virtual. So, they can attend online or they can watch them later. So I haven't really wanted to go back to in person unless we could hybridize it, unless we could record it or live stream it. And if you live stream it on YouTube, then it's out there till you take it down. So that aspect of it was real attractive to me. It'll cost us a little bit of money, and I don't know how much to do that. Yeah, there's restrooms. In fact, I used one of them. They're quite nice. And there's actually a lot of space there. The main room, the front room, which is where we'd be meeting, is huge compared to the place that we were meeting at the UU church. But it's broken up a little bit so that it feels more intimate, but then there's extra other meeting rooms. There's an upstairs area with like a multi-purpose room. There's a childcare area. I didn't talk to him about using that, but we can have that conversation because I know there are members of our community with kids, and to have a place for them to go is a nice thing. So a lot of possibilities. Now, there's also a lot of possibilities for things to not work out. So what I suggested to them is that we have a meeting there on December 8th, not January 8th, which is Rohatsu. So also known as Bodhi Day. It is in Japanese Buddhism, it's the date that people celebrate the enlightenment of the Buddha. I'm not sure why the Japanese celebrated on December 8th. So Japanese Buddhist holidays are on calendar dates, which is kind of different. Japan adopted the calendar that we use at some point, and so their holidays fall on specific days instead of on new moons or full moons and things like that, which is what you find with a lot of Buddhist countries. But everybody else celebrates the Buddha's birth, death, and enlightenment on the same day, at the same time, and it's in the spring. So I need to figure this. I need to find this out. I've asked a few people, why is this? And nobody seems to know, but the answer's out there. But at any rate, it'd be a big night for us, to have a service on that particular date. And then we can see how things go, how it works, how hard it is to find parking place downtown on Wednesday evening and stuff like that before we commit to doing it. And then I think commit to starting after the first of the year. So that's where I'm at with that. I don't anticipate anything else changing except for the location of Wednesday night meetings. So somebody asked, are we still going to meet on Zoom? Yes, I plan to continue the Zoom meetings. I'm probably not ever going to return to Palm Coast. My life is different now than it was when I started going up there. I have a lot more demands on my time now than I did when I first started going up there. And it's just burdensome to try to be at the library on a weeknight.
And the Zoom meetings, I think, work out really well. I enjoy the heck out of those. And it's kind of nice that we're, those of you who haven't attended one yet, um, we read a scripture together of some sort or some sort of Buddhist book. And then we unpack it over a period of time. So the next one we're going to do is called the Platform Sutra of the Sixth Patriarch. I'll tell you a little bit about that. And we're going to take several weeks. I haven't quite figured it out, but I think we're going to take 8 weeks to go over it. And it's fairly short, but there's just a lot in there a lot to talk about. Tomorrow we'll finish up our work on the Heart Sutra. And the thing is, a lot of these things I haven't spent a ton of time with myself, so I actually benefit from doing it. And it's nice to read them and hear your conversation about them. And when somebody, something clicks with somebody and they get something out of one of these things that they can apply to their life, that's, I love that. I mean, that's why I do this. I don't do this because I like to listen to myself talk. I do this because, people tell me it benefits them. And that's what keeps me going. So I think those are good. And I'm going to keep going to White Sands and all of that kind of stuff. So Collective is a very progressive Christian church. They meet at 5:00 on Sundays. The local Society of Friends, Quakers, meets there on Sunday mornings. So we'd be there on Wednesday night. I think they're trying to keep the place really active, because it takes money to run an institution like that. So, the more activity there is, the more money there is coming in. So anyway, that's where we're at so far. I'll be, I think everybody who's on here is signed up for our emails. So, you'll get details as they develop. I don't anticipate anything happening to prevent us meeting there on December 8th, but, don't show up until you've seen for sure that that's what we're doing. Because, till it's a done deal, it's not a done deal. So anyway, so that's that. So let me talk a little bit about the Platform Sutra. I'm actually not going to talk about the sutra, but I'll give you a little context for it. The word sutra is usually not applied to anything that's not canonical in one school or another, one tradition or another. And that generally involves being ancient to some extent. The word sutra itself actually is the same root as the word suture. It's stitches. So like some of you are into yoga, you've probably seen the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, which are actually little aphorisms, but they're connected one to another. And so the idea is that these ideas are sort of strung together and I guess metaphorically connect you to something greater. So connect you to the divine in some way. But basically it's more of a literary explanation, except that in Buddhism, the word sutra is not usually used for anything that's not, traditional and kind of like been there for a long time sort of sense. So in the original canon, Buddhist canon, there's sort of three collections of writings, the three Pitaka baskets. And the one that everybody's the most familiar with is the Sutta Pitaka. Sutta is the Pali form of sutra. The basket of sutras, the basket of really discourses that were given by the Buddha or by his high-ranking monks and nuns that were contemporary with him or not too long after his passing, and close enough to being the actual spoken word of the Buddha or a close disciple, that you could say it's the word of the Buddha. So that's what these discourses are in the Sutta Pitaka. And then as Buddhism evolved and Mahayana Buddhism developed, there were sort of different views about the purpose and practice of Buddhism. And so these other discourses happened that really were not the Buddha himself speaking, but they're considered to be such outgrowths, such natural evolutions of the Buddha's thought in this new Mahayana context, that they're still considered the word of the Buddha. So if you read the Lotus Sutra, it comes from the Buddha, even though the Buddha wasn't alive when it appeared, probably. We don't know for sure, but probably. And so on. So this particular one, the Platform Sutra, is kind of unique in that it is fairly recent, not like the last 200 years recent, but this is the sixth patriarch of Zen. And so this was after Buddhism spread into China. It had been established in China for a while. The Dharma was there, and then Bodhidharma shows up. And Bodhidharma was an Indian monk who decided he wanted to take his form of Buddhist practice, which he felt to be really contained the heart of Buddhist practice, to China. And so he got there and started, encountered some people, had some interesting conversations with some people who were already teaching the Dharma there that he didn't think very much of, and then ended up, according to the story, meditating for 9 years, staring at a wall in a cave, and then finally started teaching. And so Bodhidharma was the first patriarch. And then we'll talk about the other patriarchs as we get into the sutra. But the sixth patriarch, so this is six successors down from Bodhidharma, who according to the legend is the 28th successor to Sakyamuni Buddha. I know, lots of numbers. Don't worry about them. So anyway, he's 6 guys down from Bodhidharma. And he wrote this thing that really encapsulated the practice of Zen, Chan in China at the time, and so it became sort of a blueprint for or a foundation for Chan Zen practice. So it's very, very important in that one area of Buddhist practice, and therefore became referred to as a sutra. And it's structured kind of like it's written in fairly short little bites. So if you've ever read Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, which I'm not encouraging you to, it's a different tradition and all that's kind of interesting, but it's actually composed sort of like that, where it's almost like aphorisms, but they're connected one to another. And so to just read the Platform Sutra, you probably won't get much out of it. So they're almost always published with context, with commentaries. So I'll be posting a link to one of them and some ideas about a couple of others that if you want to read more, you can. I haven't read it, but there's a translation with commentaries by a teacher named Red Pine that I hear amazing things about. I think Brandon Shoyo has been reading that one already. So I might get that one if it's on Kindle. So anyway, we're going to start on that. It's interesting stuff, I think, and we'll spend some time with it. I'm kind of looking at it to see how best to break it up, but I think we'll probably spend 2 months on it. So yeah. So I said this a few months ago, and I'm going to say it again. I probably will not be in the area a year from now. It might be, all kinds of things could happen. But when Michelle finishes her doctorate, I've told her she gets a great job. Doesn't matter where in the world it is, we'll go there. So if this is going to continue locally, the community kind of needs to make it happen. I'm just not going to be in a position to start something that I have to be the one to make continue. It's easy for me to run a Zoom meeting. I run a Zoom meeting from anywhere in the world. I can give a talk in front of my altar in my office from anywhere in the world. But if we're talking about local meetings and stuff like that, you all need to figure out how that's going to happen. So obviously I'll help and participate, and I'd love to live someplace cold and snowy and come to Florida for the winter retreat, or whatever. That'd be pretty wonderful. But we'll work with what needs to be done. So anyway, just putting that out there. So Thanksgiving. Here's what I would like you all to do. I'm going to start talking a little bit. But while I'm talking, that old family tradition thing where you sit around the table and it's all piled with food and everybody goes around and says something they're grateful for. And pretty much, in my experience anyway, everybody sort of says the same thing every year. I'd like for you to put in chat, what are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? I think it'd be a good exercise. It'd be fun to see each other, what you think, what you're thankful for. So you can go ahead and do that when it occurs to you while I'm talking, but I'll talk a little bit about this idea of gratitude and about how we might really make the idea of a Thanksgiving Day, whether it's the day that America celebrates Thanksgiving, or whether it's just a day that you decide to set aside for gratitude, spiritually beneficial. So it occurs to me that there's sort of two things that people talk about when they talk about thankfulness. And one is really acknowledging what your blessings are. Am I going to have to start? I don't see anything popping up in chat yet. Am I going to have to say? I'll tell you what I'm thankful for. All year, 2 or 3 times a week, probably, I'm calling someone from the Stetson community to see if they need any support because they've experienced a loss in their life. And it occurs to me as I was thinking about this today that I haven't lost anybody this year. And I'm really glad about that. And, my mom is in California, my brother's in Ohio, my son's in Austin. Nobody's traveling this weekend. But my wife is here, and I'm really glad that she's here. There's a lot of people in the world who, because of their job situations, they're stuck in another country over Thanksgiving. They're not in the same country as their spouse, or they're not in the same city. There's people who are, in the armed forces who are spending the holidays away from home and stuff. So I'm here with my wife and Dee Dee and Lola, and and I'm very happy for that. That's a little different, though, when you think about gratitude specifically. So, I'm thankful. We can be thankful for a lot of things, but we should also remember to be grateful for those things that have been done on our behalf. So like even thinking about something like that, like what has been done on my behalf to make that possible? Well, for one thing, there's a place that, there's a university here that gave me a job, so I can be here working, and so I don't have to be out of the country or whatever. I have, there's an infinite amount of infrastructure that has to be in place in order for me to function the way I do. Think about the fact that I'm talking to you now happens as a result of things that I don't do. There's an internet. and an internet service, and it works usually most of the time, so that I can talk to you this way. That all happens as a result of people doing things that I benefit from. So, there's, if you look over today, what can you feel grateful for? I went to a supermarket and someone had made pumpkin pies. And not only that, but they had made pecan pies, which is what I really like. And so as a result of someone else's effort, I have both, which is not really what my belly needs, but still, I'm going to enjoy it. There's lots of things that happen as a result of other people's activity. So I think it's good, to think about really what our blessings are, being able to be here, with family. That's a blessing that I get to enjoy. And then to experience the results of other people's good actions, that's a source of gratitude. And that's really what this is. When you think about how you benefit from someone else's activity and action, that's, you're benefiting from someone else's compassion. They might not even know it. As a society, as human beings, we hold together as a result of cooperating and as a result of caring for one another. You can be the biggest jerk in the world, but if you're showing up for work every day and doing something that benefits society, then that's an act of compassion, whether you like it or not. You might be just an absolute curmudgeon, but you're still contributing to the welfare of others, the well-being of others. So, and the people that do things from which you benefit may not be people you particularly like, but you got to acknowledge that your existence is what it is, largely because of their efforts. So I really think that a very good use of time on Thanksgiving, and it doesn't have to be on the day if you got a lot of family stuff going on, some point over the weekend, do Naikan. Take a period of time and do Naikan. So I see Ellen is thankful for Jeff. That's good. And Daphne is thankful for health. And Nina is grateful for the positives in her life. Okay, good. I mean, that's excellent. Thankful to be happy. Yeah, thankful that things are going reasonably well, huh? That you have a mind that's capable of generating happiness. Health. Yeah, good. So this will be a little harder and you don't have to do it tonight, but think about something that someone has given you, some area where you have benefited from someone else's effort. So this is what the first question of Naikan is. What have I received? And really, you start to look at life as a gift, even things like affection from the dogs, they don't have to do that. They could just eat your food, and they give you a dirty look, but gosh, I walk into the house and it's like, this is the most amazing thing that ever happened. They have to come up and give me affection and attention, and that's wonderful. But then there's countless other ways that we benefit from the actions of others. So, telephones work, internets work. Somebody, Michelle fed the dogs so that I didn't have to feed the dogs. She walked the dogs when I was stuck at work, things like that. My boss made some phone calls that needed to get made to prepare for the next event we have at school, which is a Yule log lighting, which is next Tuesday night, by the way. And it's open to the community. If you got nothing better to do, come stand out in the cold around a fire by Holy Tower. It's pretty fun. And there's talk and music and stuff like that. along those lines, there are students that have agreed to participate in this event by reading something. So they're going to help make this thing, they're going to make me look good by showing up and doing cool stuff. The president of the university agreed to talk. Those are all gifts. You guys are here. That's a gift. Someone, and I'm not going to say who because I didn't tell them I was going to talk about it, but somebody gave Volusia Buddhist Fellowship a nice donation that'll help cover the expenses for a while. Very welcome thing, and it also benefits you, by the way, when someone does that. So you should be grateful for that also. So the second and third question are kind of interesting. So I was talking with somebody and they were talking about Thanksgiving. And, Thanksgiving is a little controversial for some people because we're basically expressing gratitude for this. In some circles, the way it's presented is we're expressing gratitude for America. Okay. I mean, it was, it started out as good. That's excellent, Ellen. Thanksgiving started out as a celebration of the harvest, the fact that they had made it through a tough time and they had enough food to eat to get them through the winter and that kind of thing. But at least that's the myth. It's actually probably a little bit different than that. We look up the history on Thanksgiving sometimes. It's kind of interesting stuff. But, a lot of people look at it as this almost patriotic holiday now, or it's mostly an opportunity to watch football and overeat, that kind of thing. And so there's people who go, well, it would be good to acknowledge that Thanksgiving, really how we ended up with this country. And so I was talking about this with someone, and I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but when we, first of all, the fact that, that bad things happen. But when we, the second and third question, acknowledge our relationships with the world. So the second question is, what did I give? And that's, it's good to look at that once in a while. For one thing, it makes you feel good when you recognize that you did something that was beneficial to somebody. It feels good. And so you want to do it again. You can try that experiment with yourself. In fact, there's a positive psychology group that one of the things they'll have people do is try to do like 8 good deeds in one day or something like that, some compressed period of time, and a lot of good deeds. And then kind of gauge how you feel afterward. And it's kind of interesting because I did this course, and I ended up probably doing things that I probably wouldn't normally have done, but it did feel good, And when you do something and you feel good, it makes you want to do it again. So if you do good, and even to remember that you did something good for someone, makes you feel better, makes you more likely to do something else good for somebody. So it's really healthy to think about that. You're not praising yourself. It's not self-aggrandizement. It's just acknowledging that, okay, I do some good stuff in the world once in a while myself. And that it feels good to do that. And it's spiritually healthy to do that. And then the third question is, what trouble did I cause? So, and that one, a lot of people have a tough time looking at. What trouble have I caused? But I think it's really important that we be aware of the impact that we have on those around us. Not so we can beat ourselves up. It's not a praise and blame thing. I don't praise myself because I did something good, and I don't blame myself because I did something bad. It's seeing realistically, the role that I play in the world. And it increases your mindfulness. Talk about mindfulness as if it's just a meditation practice that, or whatever, some sort of psychotherapy. But good, Catherine, keep it up. It's really good stuff. But when you look at what trouble have I caused, even in the context sometimes of doing good, we still create problems for other people, still create things for them to do, inconveniences and stuff like that. So it helps us to see ourselves in the context of our relationships more clearly. And what Buddhist practice really is all about, and I think spiritual practice more generally should be all about, is seeing our relationship with the world more clearly. What is Buddha nature? Why do we have to work so hard to see our Buddha nature? Well, part of it is because we don't really like to look at ourselves in the context of our relationships, because sometimes it's, it makes us work. But when we start to see that more clearly, it's easier to be compassionate. It's easier to forgive others. It actually helps us, motivates us to do more that actually makes our lives better. So I encourage you at some point this weekend, if you're not already doing Naikan, try it out. What have I received? What have I given? What trouble have I caused? And you can pick a space of time, 24-hour period, or something that you did, and getting your degree, or getting a promotion at work, or organizing an event, or making Thanksgiving dinner, how are those three things involved? So anyway, it's after 8:00. I didn't think I was going to talk this long, but thank you all for being here. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, whatever you do. And I will see you tomorrow night. If you're on, we will meet tomorrow. Thanksgiving. People said they wanted to meet. We'll meet. We'll wrap up the Heart Sutra. Otherwise, I'll see you next Wednesday. So have a good night. Have a good holiday.